So it's just a wonderful place. It's very peaceful when you're out there on the ice. And today we had an opportunity to stay very quiet. We were releasing seals back into their natural habitat, and we wanted to be very quiet so that we wouldn't, interrupt their normal habit. And while we were all quiet, it was just, so peaceful, and we could hear birds singing and just the ice kind of cracking slightly, and it was wonderful. I guess I got into polar science in an obscure way. I thought when I was at home and deciding, when you're a teenager, what should I do with my life? I was interested in physics and maths and geography, so I really wanted to know more about the planet. So when I did my final year master's project, I was lucky enough to get into a sea ice project. So we were studying the ice edge and how it had changed over centuries using logbooks from seal hunters and whale hunters. And I really, I learned then about global warming and how it changes, really the Arctic, it's amplified in the Arctic. So, the changes are more significant here. And I think to find out about sea ice, you just get hooked. I don't know anybody who's studied sea ice and said, no, I don't want to know anymore.
One thing that is maybe of similar importance for me to stay in science is actually that it allows me to work with a lot of really nice people. Within the science community, people interact, they are excited about their own work, they like to discuss their research.
It's the people here. This is like the first time I have a chance to communicate with so many people, to interact with people from around the world.
You really need to like your work. And you will realize if you start to be a scientist, we tolerate a lot of hardship to do that. We travel long distances, we are away from family for long times, we are sometimes working under conditions which are maybe not the safest, or which are sometimes it's pretty cold or it's very windy, but we still do it. And what keeps us going is the realization that the kind of work that we do is important. And I think that's the most important thing. If you want to do anything in your future careers, you really want to do it, you really need to commit to it. It's a lot of work, it takes a lot of patience, and sometimes it just doesn't work. And then you have to find a different approach. So it's sometimes not the easiest thing, but it's extremely exciting.
I definitely agree. If you're not interested in what you're doing, then I don't think you'll have a good career as a scientist. And in order to be excited about what you're doing, I would argue you also have to discover what it is that's out there and what interests you most. Look around broadly, spend several weeks or maybe even a few months working in a particular field, not just reading or learning about it, but actually doing the stuff, so that you get some feel for, is this really what I want to be part of? In my case, it was basically just a job I had taken, being on an icebreaker going down to Antarctica, which was pretty nice, but at that point I would have never thought of studying sea ice. And then after about 3 months, being exposed to a lot of different people thinking about different parts of the polar regions, that was what really motivated me to say, no, this is actually what I want to do. There are actually quite a lot of opportunities for people out there to just try stuff. We often take students, undergraduate students, or on occasion high school students out into the field with us. There's a lot of other opportunities for people to just try things for, say, a summer. And it's really through that and through doing a lot of different things and putting them together and sort of tailoring your own personal career that I think you're going to have most success, but most importantly, you're going to have most fun and most motivation.
I think also as a student studying environmental science, for me, understanding CI is very important for me, because for me, CI is one of the most important regulator for the climate of the Earth. And now I'm doing some reconstruction of the climate change in the past 350,000 years. So I think CIs could play a part in that. So better understanding is good for me. I think if you are interested in science, you should go for it. Just, follow your heart.
The sea ice, it regulates the Earth's climate, even though it's just part of the Arctic climate system. Changes in the Arctic climate system impact the global climate system through various mechanisms. So when sea ice forms and melts, it it changes the salinity of the ocean. People describe the ocean as the great conveyor belt, and you have this current moving through the ocean. And the Arctic sea ice plays an important role in that. So it will be interesting to see how changes in the ice pack maybe regulate or change the circulation in the oceans. And that will directly impact the climate. So I think it does have a real impact on our lives in that sense, in terms of weather. But I guess, it's also it's interesting just to be able to be involved in researching, putting physics to real life use, so to be able to do something that contributes to understanding our Earth better, I think that really is something inspirational for me.